Ever wonder how some politicians enter office with modest savings and leave as multi-millionaires? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on America's political elite who've mastered the art of getting rich while serving the public. These aren't just successful investors with lucky timing. They're masters of using power and influence to build personal fortunes. From suspicious stock trades to family business deals that magically flourish after legislation passes, these 10 politicians have turned public service into private wealth machines. Let's dive into the shocking numbers behind their before and after net worths and expose exactly how they've gamed the system while claiming to work for you. Richard Shelby, Alabama Senator. Before becoming a senator, Richard Shelby was a modest Alabama attorney with a net worth hovering around $200,000 when he first entered politics in 1979. Fast forward 4 decades, and this public servant somehow amassed over $20 million while earning a government salary. How exactly? Shelby's financial wizardry included strategic investments that consistently outperformed even the savviest Wall Street traders. What a coincidence that many of these investments were in companies directly benefiting from the bills he supported and the committees he served on. As Banking Committee Chairman, Shelby pushed legislation that helped financial institutions while his portfolio magically swelled with banking stocks. Even more suspicious were the federal contracts and projects he directed to Alabama, many benefiting companies he had stakes in. His wife's sudden appointment to federal boards didn't hurt either. The real kicker? Shelby's property investments near federal projects he approved. Buy land for pennies, announce a government development nearby. Watch values skyrocket. The man turned earmarking into an art form that paid personal dividends. Despite ethics inquiries, Shelby always maintained just enough separation through family members and blind trust to avoid consequences. From moderate means to the 1% club, all while serving the public. That's the Shelby way. Nancy Pelosi, former House Speaker. When Nancy Pelosi entered Congress in 1987, she had a respectable net worth of around $1 to $2 million, not poor by any means, but nowhere near the financial titan she'd become. Today, she's sitting on a fortune estimated at over $120 million. Not bad for someone earning $223,500 annually as Speaker. Her secret? It's all about that impeccable stock-picking talent. Pelosi and her husband Paul have made trades so perfectly timed they'd make hedge fund managers jealous. Remember when she bought Microsoft stock right before a $22 billion government contract announcement? Or loading up on Visa during major credit card legislation? Just lucky guesses, she claims. The Pelosi's real estate portfolio alone would make property tycoons envious. Luxury properties in San Francisco, Napa Valley vineyards, and commercial real estate that somehow appreciates faster than market averages. Then there's Paul's venture capital firm that keeps landing deals with companies seeking favourable legislation. What's truly impressive is how she's normalised this wealth accumulation while positioning herself as a champion of the working class. When pressed about potential conflicts of interest, Nancy simply deflects. After decades in power, she's mastered the art of enrichment while maintaining plausible deniability. From millionaire to 9-figure fortune, that's the real Pelosi playbook. Mitch McConnell, Senate Minority Leader.
Hello, I'm Senator Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell's financial transformation might be the most dramatic on our list. When he first joined the Senate in 1985, his net worth was approximately $100,000, squarely middle class. Today, he's worth an estimated $35 million. That's quite the salary boost for someone earning standard Senate wages. The McConnell money mystery deepened in 2008 when his net worth suddenly jumped between $5 to $25 million. The official explanation: a gift from his wife Elaine Chow's family. Convenient timing as this fortune appeared while McConnell was facing a tough re-election campaign. Even more interesting is how Chow later became Transportation Secretary, overseeing programs that directly benefited shipping companies connected to her family's business. McConnell's investment portfolio reads like a who's who of industries he's regulated and aided through legislation. Healthcare companies benefiting from his Obamacare opposition, banks thriving after deregulation he championed, and energy corporations flourishing under his climate policy blockades. While Kentucky remains one of America's poorest states, their senator has become one of the wealthiest members of Congress. McConnell's mastery lies in leveraging family connections and political power into personal gain, while maintaining a poker face about ethical concerns. From schoolteacher salary to multi-millionaire, all while representing one of the nation's most economically struggling states. That's pure McConnell magic. Dianne Feinstein, former California senator. When Dianne Feinstein entered the Senate in 1992, she was already comfortable with a net worth around $3 million. But by the peak of her career, that figure had ballooned to over $90 million. Quite the public service bonus. The real wealth engine? Her late husband Richard Bloom's investment firm, which seemed to have an uncanny knack for landing contracts in areas Feinstein regulated. The most eyebrow-raising example came when Bloom's company scored billions in contracts with the US Postal Service, while Feinstein sat on the committee overseeing it. Pure coincidence, they insisted. Then there were those convenient Chinese investments that flourished while Feinstein championed normal trade relations with China from her position on the Foreign Relations Committee. Real estate deals made the couple a fortune too. Remember that sweet arrangement where Feinstein pushed legislation benefiting the FDIC, which then exclusively awarded her husband's firm a contract to sell foreclosed properties. That alone generated over $100 million in commissions. Despite multiple conflict of interest investigations, Feinstein maintained she kept her Senate work separate from her husband's business. The arrangement worked brilliantly. She made the policies, he made the profits. Even as her mental acuity declined in her final years in office, the family fortune remained impressively intact. From millionaire to ultra-wealthy, the Feinstein formula worked like magic. Bill and Hillary Clinton. The Clintons might be the ultimate rags-to-riches political story. When they entered the White House in 1993, they were worth roughly $700,000, with Bill famously claiming they were the poorest president and first lady in modern history. Fast forward to today, and they're worth over $120 million. Not bad for a couple who've spent most of their careers in public service. The Clinton wealth machine kicked into high gear after leaving the White House dead broke. Hillary's words, not ours. Bill's speaking fees magically jumped to $500,000 per speech, particularly from groups with business before Hillary's State Department. What a coincidence! Their books generated tens of millions, with advances perfectly timed to political campaigns. But the real masterpiece was the Clinton Foundation, which collected billions from foreign governments and corporations seeking favor. Remember those uranium mining interests that donated millions before Secretary Clinton approved their sale to Russia? Or the Swiss bank UBS that donated after Hillary helped resolve their IRS problems? The Clintons perfected the art of monetizing political power while maintaining plausible deniability. When questioned, they point to charitable work and global initiatives. Meanwhile, they jet between luxury homes in Washington, New York, and their $11 million Bedford estate, living a lifestyle far removed from their Arkansas beginnings. From modest means to international wealth, the ultimate political cash conversion. Bob Corker, former Tennessee Senator. Bob Corker arrived in the Senate in 2007, already wealthy from his construction and real estate businesses, worth several million. But during his 11 years in office, his fortune mysteriously multiplied to nearly $69 million. Not bad for someone earning a government salary of $174,000 annually. Corker's financial wizardry included reporting dozens of assets and income sources with such bewildering complexity that ethics watchdogs struggled to track them. His specialty: making up to 100 stock trades monthly, many in companies directly affected by his committee work. As Banking Committee Chairman, Corker's stock moves often preceded major policy announcements. Just lucky timing, he claimed. The Tennessee senator really raised eyebrows with his Chattanooga land deals. In one case, he failed to disclose millions in income from shopping centre developments until journalists caught it. His explanation: accounting oversights. Even more suspicious was his purchase of land just before a manufacturing plant announcement nearby sent property values soaring. What makes Corker special among corrupt politicians is his brazenness. While others hide their conflicts of interest, he openly bragged about his business acumen. When ethics complaints mounted, Corker simply revised his financial disclosures multiple times. Despite investigations, he retired comfortably to his fortune. From successful businessman to ultra-wealthy senator, Corker showed that government service can be incredibly profitable if you know how to play the game. Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker. When Newt Gingrich entered Congress in 1979, he was just a middle-class history professor worth about $400,000. Today, he's sitting on approximately $9 million despite never working in the private sector. His wealth explosion came after leaving Congress, when companies he previously helped through legislation suddenly needed his consulting. Gingrich mastered the art of influence peddling without technically lobbying. His think tank collected millions from healthcare companies while he pushed policies benefiting them. Remember his $1.6 million historian fee from Freddie Mac right before the housing crisis? The hypocrisy is stunning. He attacked corruption while building a mini empire of political connections. Even after his ethics violations forced his resignation as Speaker, corporations kept paying for access to his network. Through book deals, speaking fees, and strategic advising, Gingrich transformed his political brand into personal wealth, from history professor to multi-millionaire, all thanks to the revolving door between Congress and cash. Harry Reid, former Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid's journey from poverty to power came with a convenient financial upgrade. Entering the Senate in 1987, worth roughly $1 million, he left worth over $10 million. Quite impressive on a government salary. Reid's specialty was Nevada land deals that seemed supernaturally profitable. He bought cheap desert parcels that mysteriously increased in value after federal decisions he influenced. In one infamous case, he made $1.1 million on land he technically didn't even own anymore through a questionable transfer to a friend's company. The Reid family business model was simple. His sons worked as lobbyists for companies needing favours from their father's committees. Gaming, mining and energy clients paid the sons while legislation favourable to these industries moved through Reid's Senate. Despite ethics investigations, Reid mastered the art of keeping transactions just legal enough to avoid consequences. His defence was always the same: pure coincidence that his policies and personal finances aligned so perfectly. From humble beginnings to multi-millionaire, Reid proved politics pays in Nevada. Bob Menendez, New Jersey Senator. Bob Menendez might win the prize for most brazenly corrupt politician still in office. Entering Congress in 1993, worth about $200,000, his financial practices have been notably suspicious, despite a modest $174,000 salary. The FBI raid on his home revealed the smoking gun, literal gold bars and cash stuffed in closets. His 2023 indictment alleges accepting bribes, including gold, a Mercedes-Benz, and mortgage payments in exchange for helping Egyptian business interests. Even after his 2017 corruption trial, which ended in a hung jury, Menendez continued his questionable activities. His wife mysteriously received a position with an insurance firm seeking his influence. Meanwhile, he pushed policies benefiting foreign governments that showered him with luxury gifts. The most stunning aspect is Menendez's refusal to resign, despite overwhelming evidence. He's mastered looking constituents in the eye while allegedly selling his office to the highest bidder. From middle-class beginnings to gold bars in closets, Menendez exemplifies corruption in its most unsubtle form. Roy Blunt, former Missouri Senator. Roy Blunt entered the Senate in 2011 with a respectable net worth around $1 million, but left politics worth over $8 million, quite the government salary bonus. His wealth-building secret? Family business. While Blunt crafted legislation, his wife and children conveniently worked as lobbyists for companies affected by his committees. Blunt's son Andy became Missouri's highest-paid lobbyist shortly after Dad entered Congress. Pure coincidence, surely. Meanwhile, Blunt steered millions in earmarks to clients represented by his family members. His wife Abigail lobbied for Kraft Foods while Blunt helped block food safety regulations. The senator's property portfolio mysteriously flourished too. He purchased strategic real estate near government projects he helped fund, watching values skyrocket. One particularly suspicious transaction involved land near a highway project he championed. Despite multiple ethics complaints, Blunt mastered the art of technical compliance while violating the spirit of conflict of interest rules. His defence never wavered, simply claiming no explicit connection between his votes and family enrichment. From modest wealth to multi-millionaire, the Blunt family showed that politics truly pays when kept in the family. These politicians represent America's corruption epidemic, turning public service into personal enrichment. While average Americans struggle, these servants build fortunes through insider deals, family connections, and influence peddling. Their wealth growth defies logic, unless you understand the game they're playing. Both parties protect their own while pointing fingers at opponents. Until voters demand better, the cycle continues. Want more political exposés? Hit subscribe and join our fight for accountability.